I'm going to call Alfred Naru.
Thank you, Mr Chair. I rise and take a call on this bill, on part 3. And, Mr Chair, this morning and even we heard the wailing and the gnashing of teeth. In fact, Annette King got up and she pleaded that where was the regulatory impact report for part 2 of the bill? She said the democratic process means there should be a regulatory impact report. Mr Chair, we now are at part 3. I don't see any regulatory impact report for part 3. But that's okay. Help is on its way. I've actually started to write a regulatory impact report myself, just to support and help the member over here. I realised that this was scribbled up last minute to put together to try and prolong this process, as well. So here's the thing on this regulatory impact report that I've managed to put together, which I think could be of use to part 3. The proposition that's here. I have to give a historical analysis of this as part of a regulatory impact report, and this goes back to 2014. And if those of you can remember, the election manifesto talked about housing, and what it talked about? Well, the first thing it talked about was the Kiwi Build scheme. It talked about 100,000 houses. It talked about over 10 years that it would build that, approximately $2 billion. But you see, then we heard the Honourable David Parker, and what did he say? Actually, that's not achievable. He said, in fact, we wouldn't do 10, we'd do 4. In fact, in the second year, we'd do less than that, possibly 2,000. So my regulatory impact report says there is a risk here. There is a risk in this part 3 if it was to take place. The second thing that I think it's really important in this regulatory impact report is that coupled with the Kiwi Build scheme was the capital gains tax. And those of you remember, that's right, they went out and they said this is important. Now we hear the words about speculation and speculators, but my regulatory impact report says this, that coupled with that, if they included on the 2014 manifesto the importance around the capital gains tax, we know that it wasn't popular. In fact, it was so unpopular that Labor had the worst election result that they've had in a series of years. So what have they done? They've taken that out. They've taken that away. They've minimised the risk to the Kiwi Build scheme. And that's right, there's the silence of the lambs at the moment on the other side because they know this is true. They know that this is true. But my regulatory impact report is actually stating this. We can't have that and for that. In fact, that won't be good enough as it is. Mr Chair, as we can see in here, the report says 10,000 affordable houses. But the regulatory impact report that I have now, there is another risk that's emerged. Because while there's a prenuptial between Labor and the Greens, New Zealand First are now jumping in. And Dennis O'Rourke this morning said, it's not good enough to build 10,000 houses per year. We are going to build 20,000 houses. Now that's how ridiculous it is, because now Dennis wants to join in. He wants to have a prenuptial to join into this three-way partnership to say we could just build houses. Mr. Chair, the minister himself said this: you can't just throw out figures and think that that will resolve the issue around the housing affordability, around more housing. You have to have a comprehensive plan. And Mr. Chair, don't worry, help is on its way. I need to reiterate that in my regulatory impact report, there is significant development that is happening at the moment. For instance, apparently under this government, that in the term of this term, 85,000 new homes will be built. That's right, not 100,000, not 100,000 in 10 years, no, 85,000 new homes, 40 homes per day in Auckland alone. Now we know that in 2008, when this government came into play, it was around 10 homes per day in a working day up in Auckland. It's now at 40. 2,000 homes built on Crown land, and the significance of that is quite important. So while we're talking about part 3, we're talking about 10,000 homes. My regulatory impact report says actually there's help on its way. In fact, it's here already, and it's coming through a national-led government. 15,000 have now experienced. That means that they've been able to take the Home Start package, where they get what's been increased to 20,000 to ensure that they can actually have a deposit on a house as well. 2,000 homes have been redeveloped on Housing New Zealand land. 42,000 apprenticeships. Because, Mr. Chair, we know it's not just about, as Part 3 says, just have a figure to build homes. You need to first of all look at the construction. You need to look at land supply, and that's particularly what this bill is looking at, land supply, ensuring that we rezone the land, we ensure that we fast-track the consenting process to ensure that that's really important. So I have real concerns about this Part 3 and its achievability to meet its goal. Mr. Chair, we think that we are making a difference. The last thing I want to say, in the construction industry, we see another 40,000 that have been added to the construction industry. This is making a difference. This is the Kiwi dream, not for the future, not for 2017. This is the Kiwi Build scheme that's happening right now here in New Zealand. Mr. Chair, we know it's making a difference.
I'm going to call